Good afternoon, my friends. My name is Melissa from Melissa's Struggle and Walk with Jesus. I'm using the, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. But I'm using the Amplified Holy Bible and the Navigator's Bible reading plan to share the Word of God with you. I'm still working on 21D, chapters 22 to 26, and this is chapter 23. The title is Persons Excluded from the Assembly, and it says, He who has been castrated by having his testicles crushed or his male organ cut off shall not enter the congregation of the Lord. Verse 2. A person of illegitimate birth shall not enter the assembly of the Lord, none of his descendants, even to the 10th generation. This one here has a down thing and everything in his, where it says illegitimate birth. That is one who was born from incest, an adulterous relationship, or a mixed marriage, which is a Jew or a Jewess and a Gentile. Alright. Verse 3 says, An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter the assembly of the Lord. None of their descendants, even to the 10th generation, shall ever enter the assembly of the Lord. Where it says Moabite. Now Ruth, one of the ancestors of Jesus, was a Moabitess, but she essentially became an Israelite. Check out Ruth chapter 1, verse 16. And married an Israelite Boaz. Moreover, the rabbis taught that in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 3, applied only to Ammonite and Moabite men. This teaching was summarized by what became a common saying, An Ammonite is forbidden, but an Ammonitess, a Moabite, but not a Moabitess, as quoted from the Talmud. Alright, so we're going to continue on with verse 4, and it says, Because they did not meet you with bread and food and water on the road as you came out of Egypt, and because they hired to act against you Balaam the son of Beor from Pethar of Mesopotamia to curse you. Nevertheless, the Lord your God was not willing to listen to Balaam, but the Lord your God turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God has loved you. You shall never seek their peace nor their prosperity all your days. You shall not detest an Edomite, for he is your brother, Esau's descendant. You shall not detest an Egyptian, because you were a stranger, resident alien, a foreigner in his land. Their children of the 3rd generation who are born to them may enter the assembly of the Lord. When you go out as an army to fight against your enemies, you shall keep yourselves from every evil thing. If there is any man among you who is ceremonially unclean because of nocturnal emission, then he must go outside the camp. He shall not come back to the camp. But when evening comes, he shall bathe in water, and at sundown he may return to camp. You shall also have a place outside the camp to which you may go, and you shall have a spade among your tools. And when you prepare to sit down outside to relieve yourself, you shall dig a hole with it, and shall turn and cover up your waste. Since the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp to rescue you and to defeat your enemies before you, therefore your camp must be holy, undefiled, and he must not see anything indecent among you, or he will turn away from you. You shall not hand over to his master a slave who has escaped from his master to you. He shall live among you in the place he chooses, in one of your cities, where it pleases him. You shall not mistreat or oppress him. There shall be no cult prostitute among the daughters of Israel. nor shall there be a cult prostitute, a sodomite, among the sons of Israel. You shall not bring the wages of a prostitute, or the price of a dog, that is, a male prostitute, into the house of the Lord your God as payment for any vow. But both of these, the gift and the giver, are utterly repulsive to the Lord your God. You shall not charge interest to your fellow Israelite. Interest on money, food, or anything that may be loaned for interest. You may charge interest to a foreigner, but to your fellow Israelite you shall not charge interest, so that the Lord your God must bless you in all that you undertake in the land which you are about to enter to possess. So when you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay to pay it, for he will most certainly require it of you, and a delay would cause you to sin. But if you refrain from making a vow that would not be counted as sin to you, you shall be careful to perform that vow which passes your lips, just as you have made a voluntary vow to the Lord your God, just as you have promised with your own words and mouth. When you enter your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat your fill of grapes, as many as you please, but you shall not put any in your basket to take with you. When you come into the standing grain of your neighbor, you may pluck the ears of grain with your hand, but you shall not wield a sickle in your neighbor's standing grain to harvest it. Verse 20 says, You may charge interest to a foreigner, but to your fellow Israelite you shall not charge interest, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all that you undertake in the land which you are about to enter to possess, where it says all that you undertake. Other literature has all to which your hand is put. Verse 21 says, When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay to pay it, for he will most certainly require it of you, and a delay would cause you to sin, where it says vow to the Lord. The abuse of vows was a practice for which Jesus sternly rebuked the Pharisees. There were at least two kinds of abuse for which they were rightly held responsible. Number one, their approval of vows which should have been overruled and rejected because they violated even more important commandments. See Matthew chapter 15, verses 3 through 6. And number two, inappropriate or hair-splitting criteria for determining the validity of a vow. Check out Matthew chapter 23, verses 16 through 22. Verse 24 says, When you enter your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat your fill of grapes, as many as you please, but you shall not put any in your basket to take with you, where it says as many as you please. Other literature has, according to your soul. Verse 25 says, When you come into the standing grain of your neighbor, you may pluck the ears of grain with your hand, but you shall not wield a sickle in your neighbor's standing grain to harvest it, where it says pluck the ears of grain. When Jesus and his disciples picked some grain in this manner, they were not charged with theft by the Pharisees, but of doing work on the Sabbath, which was clearly not the case. Check out Matthew chapter 12, verses 1 through 6.